Imagine a country wins the right to host a party, a month-long celebration of sport broadcast to 3.5 billion eyes that arrives with a single promise. It will pay for itself, jobs will multiply, tourists will flood the hotels, the global spotlight will transform a nation's brand overnight. This is the consensus hallucination sold by every World Cup bid committee since the television era began, and it is a lie so structurally perfect that it has survived decades of economic wreckage without a scratch. The World Cup is not an engine of prosperity. It is a value extraction machine, calibrated to funnel public money into a handful of private balance sheets while leaving the host country with a debt hangover, a string of concrete corpses, and a population wondering where the miracle went. The dark data does not whisper, it screams. Study after study, from independent economists to the European Central Bank, has tried to find the mythical World Cup boom and come back empty-handed. In the quarter following the tournament, retail sales do not skyrocket, they flatline. Construction jobs peak and then collapse, leaving thousands of workers dumped back into the labor market the moment the final whistle blows. Tourism, the golden goose, often shrinks. Normal visitors stay away to avoid the chaos, and the ones who arrive for football spend less per day than the high-value travelers they displaced. The Brazilian government claimed the 2014 tournament would inject nearly $30 billion into the economy. The actual net gain was indistinguishable from zero, except for one very visible legacy: stadiums built for $500 million each that now host parking lot expos and occasional concerts because no local club can afford their upkeep. The multiplier effect, that beautiful economic theory where a dollar spent ripples through a community, turns out to be a negative number when that dollar is borrowed from future schools and hospitals. To understand how the system cracked into its current form, you have to look at the moment the traditional narrative snapped. It happened in the 1970s when a man named João Havelange took over FIFA and understood a simple truth. The real product was not the football, it was the television signal. He transformed the governing body from a gentleman's club into a ruthless commercial monopoly. Broadcasting rights became the backbone, and sponsorship deals became the arteries pumping cash into a Swiss fortress. The business model was refined into a weapon of zero risk and maximum extraction. FIFA demands that the host nation sign a contract that reads like a surrender document. Tax exemptions for the organization and its partners? Mandatory. Sovereign legal immunity? Written in. The host government must guarantee security, infrastructure, and the unlimited flow of capital into the stadiums, while FIFA captures the ticket revenue, the broadcast billions, and the licensing fees. The entire risk is loaded onto the public spine. The entire reward is vacuumed into Zurich. This brings us to the hidden middlemen who feast at the throat of the host economy. FIFA is the face, but the real mechanics are operated by a consortium of parasites that attach themselves the moment a country wins the bid. The construction cartels move first, because the opening match date is a non-negotiable deadline written into the global calendar. Every contractor knows the state has no choice but to pay. The result is a predictable overrun virus. The average World Cup sees costs blow past the original budget by over 100%. The Maracanã renovation was supposed to cost $300 million. It cost more than $500 million. South Africa's stadiums absorbed $3.5 billion, and within 5 years, most of them were hemorrhaging money, kept alive only by further public subsidies. But the construction firms, registered in jurisdictions designed for opacity, pocket their margins and vanish. Then come the hospitality and logistics behemoths, the security contractors, the ticketing platform middlemen. Each inserts a straw into the public purse. The host nation is not building stadiums for its citizens. It is building a temporary extraction infrastructure for a temporary extraction circus that will pack up and leave the moment the final whistle sounds. The street-level mechanics are even brutal. Rent prices in host cities are injected with a speculative fever. Landlords evict long-term residents to convert apartments into short-term rentals, chasing the flood of foreign wallets. The price of a beer, a sandwich, a taxi fare all spike not because the cost of production changed, but because the local economy has been temporarily annexed by a premium event pricing model. The average citizen in Rio de Janeiro did not see a wage increase during the World Cup. They saw their cost of living scream upward, while the government diverted billions from public transport to build a highway to the stadium. The economic violence is precise. It extracts value from the bottom and concentrates it at the top, using the tournament as a 4-week justification for a permanent transfer of wealth. The macroeconomic reality check is this: the system is not broken. It is operating exactly as it was designed. The World Cup is a billion-dollar battery that charges up FIFA's reserves, refreshes the brand equity of global sponsors like Coca-Cola and Adidas, and leaves the host nation as the drained, disposable casing. The debt taken on by the public treasury does not mature in 4 weeks. It lingers for a generation, eating into budgets for public health and education, while the stadiums stand as mausoleums of a party no one could afford. The politicians who signed the guarantees are long gone when the interest payments come due. The construction executives are on a yacht. FIFA is already planning the next auction, where a new set of nations will compete for the poisoned chalice, convinced that this time the numbers will be different. So when you hear a country celebrate winning the right to host the World Cup, you are not watching an economic victory. You are watching a trap spring shut. The billions promised never touch the ground. They flow upward through a perfectly engineered funnel of tax exemptions and no-bid contracts, leaving behind the concrete and the debt for everyone else. The party will be spectacular, precisely because someone else is paying for it. And that someone, as always, is you.